Hi, thank you so much for joining me on this mini workshop all about what do you do? And in this workshop, you're going to learn how to identify your ideal client, your niche, and you're going to create your 30-second elevator pitch. So when you meet somebody and they ask you, what do you do? You're going to have an answer for them. And the reason I created this mini workshop, if you will, is because I started the journey of becoming a coach, a values based coach. And as I was starting that journey, I was starting it along with hundreds of other people in a world full of thousands of coaches. And it was really important for me to gain clarity on the group of people that I wanted to focus in on and pour value into. And in doing so, I had to identify the qualities. What does my ideal client look like? What qualities do they possess? What does my nightmare client look like in terms of the qualities that they possess? And then where is my group? What am I going to target in on? What area of this large market in coaching am I going to focus in on? And what's my pitch? When somebody asks me, what do you do? I wanted to make sure that my answer wasn't just, I'm a coach or I coach people, because thousands of people could say that. So what makes me different? I wanted to be able to answer that question that left somebody going, whoa, I do want to learn more, or no thanks, I'm not interested. And getting a no thanks is great. I want you to hear that. Yes, it's great. If there's a no thanks, it just means they're not your ideal client, and they might eventually know somebody down the line that they could refer to you. So the goal of this course is to make sure that by the end of it, you're able to identify who your ideal client is. Again, you're able to identify your niche. What market are you targeting? And what is that 30-second pitch to describe what you do to other people? I also want to take a moment to let you know, this is a mini workshop, meaning what's presented to you here has been a very condensed version of what I've learned over hours and hours of courses. So if this is something that's intriguing to you and you want to learn more, you see my email address down at the bottom of your screen. Please feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to work out a call and share more with you. This series also comes along with a What Do You Do free workbook. So if you're interested in getting the workbook, all you have to do is email me to receive a free copy of the workbook so that you can go along and follow along with the exercises. So this is an exercise-based workshop so that you can walk away with clarity. So let's dive in. What are we going to learn in this time together? We're going to talk first about the 80-20 principle. And after that, you're going to identify your red velvet rope. Who are your red velvet rope clients? I know you're probably thinking, what is she talking about? We'll stick around and see. Then we're going to do some exercising, identifying your ideal clients and your not so ideal clients. You're going to then focus in on understanding who your niche is, what that niche is for you. And then you're going to take some time creating your elevator pitch. So let's dive right in with the 80-20 principle. So some of you might already be familiar with the 80-20 principle, and it simply states that a minority of causes, inputs, and efforts usually lead to a majority of the results, outputs, or rewards, which means 20% of your efforts tend to create 80% of your income. Yeah. 20% of your efforts tend to create 80% of your income. So the purpose of this workshop is to make sure that you're focusing in on the 20% that makes your business grow and makes your business successful. And being able to identify ideal client niche and having a pitch is going to allow you to dial in to that 20% of your business. For the 80%, you want to find a way to either eliminate that some of that 80% if it's no longer serving you, or automate it. What types of communication can be automated with that 80% that's going to keep them in the loop for possible clients or referrals down the road? Your velvet rope, your red velvet rope. So imagine that you have a night out on the town planned and you're going to a super fancy club. Maybe that's not your thing, but just go with me for a minute. And you're going into this club and you can probably all picture this, right? There's a bouncer at the front of the line with that red velvet rope. And you give him your name and he's either letting you in or he's saying, I'm sorry, you're not on the list. Right? So this is part of identifying your ideal client. Who are you letting into your club? Who are you letting into your business or your service? And who are you okay turning away? Right? This is so important. Sometimes as new business owners, we think we need to bring in everybody and accept all forms of any potential business opportunities. And that's not the case. We want to be really clear and congruent on who we want to work with, what their qualities and characteristics are. Because when we're working with our ideal clients, we're targeting that 20% that we know we're going to be able to help be successful. So let's dive into who is your ideal client. This is our first exercise. So if you're following along in the workbook, this is on workbook page 2. You'll see that noted workbook pages on our slides for any slide that correlates, okay? And on this page, I want you to take the time to list all of the qualities of the potential clients that you will not tolerate, okay? Who should the bouncer keep out? Who should the bouncer keep out? So you see some examples there. These are clients that I'm like, nope, red velvet rope does not get lifted and raised for you. These are things that as a business owner, I'm not going to tolerate. Someone that shows up late, cancels last minute, slow to pay, doesn't have the budget for your service or product, not open to feedback. What are some qualities that you will absolutely not tolerate? And I want you to list those. Don't be shy. List as many as you want. The more clarity you have on this, the better the exercises are going to go for you. So I encourage you when we get into exercise mode to go ahead and pause the video, complete the exercise, and then come back and press play. Okay? All right. So I'm going to welcome you back because I'm trusting that you went ahead and paused the video and you made that list of all the qualities and the characteristics of clients that you will not tolerate. They're not getting in to your club. Now, let's look at who should the bouncer let in? This is on page 3 of your workbook. These are all the qualities that your ideal clients have. Who are you looking for? Like if you met them and started talking to them and they started saying all these things, you're like, oh my gosh, that's my ideal client. Their name's on the list. I want to work with them. I get so excited every time that I call them or talk with them or have a session with them or an appointment with them to go make my pitch. Like when I see their name on my schedule, I'm freaking excited. I want you to list all of the qualities that your ideal clients have. Here are some examples. On time, they're excited to move forward. They're motivated. They're open-minded. They have the budget for your services and product. You'll notice I mentioned budget on both of these, my not ideal clients versus my ideal. And at the beginning, I realized when we start talking about niche, I was focusing in on a group that might not necessarily have the budget for my services. So that's something that's important to think about. And it's also something important to put out there. I work with people that have the budget for what I bring to the table, right? That's important to include. So go ahead again, pause the video, make your list of all of the qualities that your ideal client would have and list those out for me now. All right, welcoming you back. You now have a list of qualities that you will not tolerate and a list of qualities that are your ideal clients. You are raising that red velvet rope. You're like, send them in. I'm ready. Now let's take this one step further. This is nice to have in a table form to kind of bring everything together for you. And call this table ideal, possible, nightmare. So you're going to use this table to organize the qualities that you just started taking notes on. So you'll notice your ideal clients are on the left. nightmare clients, the qualities that they have that you will not tolerate on the right. And then we've added an additional column here called possible clients. And in the possible client section, these are qualities or characteristics or things that you're like, okay, well, they're not ideal, but they're not a nightmare. And I think there's potential here. I would potentially work with this person. I think I need to get in better relationship with this person, learn more about this person, ask them more questions to determine whether they are an ideal, a good fit, someone that I would work with, or maybe it's an opportunity to set up a referral relationship and possibly even refer them to somebody else in your field. So you can look back at pages 2 and 3 of your workbook and you can bring in those qualities. This chart, ideal, possible, nightmare, is on page 4. So you'll see that on page 4 of your workbook. And you can go ahead and start writing down the qualities now. Possible clients might be like in my field, I do in-person meetings, Zoom meetings. I prefer those. I prefer not to do my coaching call over the phone. I prefer to see my client. And that could be more of a possible for me. Well, I prefer to have a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting. They're not a nightmare client if they can only coach with me on the phone. So that for me, I was like, okay, they're available to coach via phone would go in the middle column for me. So start thinking about, okay, what are possible characteristics, qualities, or things about a person that would keep them as a potential or a possible client for you. And by now, you know the drill. You're going to go ahead and pause the video and you're going to fill out your table and then come back and press play. Awesome. So now that you've identified the qualities of your ideal, possible, and nightmare clients, now we're going to start to focus in on learning more about your niche. Who is your niche? Where are you going to find these so-called ideal clients, right? Because that's the 20% we really want to dial in on. So what is a niche, right? Well, we've got to understand that first. When you have a niche, it means you have a target market that you specialize in. And we're going to develop this further, so stay with me. You want to choose a niche or think like a group, right? A targeted group or market that you've researched and most importantly, that you're going to enjoy working with. Like I said, when you see that name or that company or that group show up on your calendar, you want to feel joy and excitement to go work with them or have a meeting and consult, right? So we want to help you. I want to help you figure out what is your niche. And before we dive into those activities, what are the benefits? Like, why am I harping on this, right? Like I shared with you at the beginning of the call that once I identified my ideal clients and then identified my niche, I gained a whole lot more clarity on where I was headed as a business owner. When you know your niche, when you have your niche, you know your ideal client. You know where to find them, you know their problems, and you know how to solve them. This is so key. Do you hear that you have relationship with your niche? You have an understanding of their problems, of their challenges, and you have the solution. That's what makes you the expert. That's what makes them want to work with you. So how do you find your niche? And you'll see this is on page 5 of your workbook. There's some guiding questions so that on page 5, it's open for you to just start taking notes. Let it be a brain dump. Just empty out your brain when you're looking over these questions. What is your area of expertise? Where are you already an expert? For me, I knew that area was in coaching. What sets you apart from everyone else? What's different about you? What's going to make people want to work with you? What's going to make your niche want to work with you? So for instance, what sets me apart from other coaches, right, from life coaches or mindset coaches, is the 4 steps to transformation process that I walk my clients through, right? I have 4 steps to success and I walk them through that during our coaching meetings. That's what sets me apart, the certifications I have in order to walk them through that process. What do you already know a lot about? What do you already know a lot about, right? Like, think about that. And I'm going to jump down to the bottom really fast, because what do you already know a lot about in that last bullet point? What life experiences have you had that may connect you to a particular group? Sometimes go hand in hand. So for me, when I'm focused on in my area of coaching, is I'm coaching people who want to experience a higher level of success in their careers, or they're going through career transformation. They're not sure this is where they want to be, and they want to move to either a completely another career or a different space in their current role. They want to change roles, right, in their current company. I can identify that. I already know a lot about that because I've been through it. Same with personal relationships. I've been through a lot as a person by myself, including an eating disorder, self-injury, a fractured back, a divorce, a move across the country. I've experienced those things to help me learn more about the relationship I have with myself. And now going into my second marriage, I have a whole different foundation of values and lessons learned to make this marriage successful. So those are things that I already know a lot about because of my life experiences. Maybe you're in an industry. I'm going to give you an example of real estate because that's an industry that I've been a part of. Maybe you're in an industry and you already know a lot about helping first-time home buyers, or you already know a lot about helping people in foreclosure. Maybe you're in the physical health space and you already know a lot about nutrition. You've developed a nutrition plan that's worked for you because you're a busy on-the-go person and you want to share that with other people. So thinking about what you already know and your life experiences will help you when you're thinking about identifying your niche. What groups do you already belong to? You might already have a group and not even realize that, oh my gosh, I'm like literally in my niche right now. Maybe there are moms or dads out there that are watching this call that are a part of a dad's group or a mom and me group. And they're already like, these are your people. These are your ideal clients that would benefit greatly from your services or products. Maybe you're a part, you have a hobby that you're a part of, and your business or your service could provide value to that group of people. And what are you most passionate about as it relates to your work? What are you most passionate about? Thinking about what brings you joy when you open up your schedule currently, what are the things that are bringing you joy, and how can you create more of that? So really taking time to dive into these questions and reflect. And as you do it, I trust you're going to all of a sudden start to see these opportunities that have actually been sitting in front of you all along. And it's such an amazing activity to walk through. So again, this is on page 5 of your workbook. Go ahead and pause the video. And then after you've done that work, I want you to come back and we're going to move in to the next phase. All right, so moving into the next phase, now we're going to talk about getting some more information so that we can make sure that we are targeting your niche specifically. So you see there, it says sell the sizzle, not the steak. And I love this. This came from many of my marketing classes that I took. And so often we want to sell what we have, which would be considered the steak. Okay, we want to focus instead on selling the sizzle. And when we talk about selling the sizzle, it means that I'm advertising and reaching out to the pains and the wants of my niche. Because here's the thing, if they knew what they needed, they'd already have it. If they knew they needed that steak, they'd have just went out and got it. Right? So we need to have a deeper understanding of what the pains and the wants are of people in our niche. So let's look at what that means. Pains. What does your client want to be free of? What pains, problems, challenges are they currently experiencing? Now, maybe you've been in this position before. Maybe your niche is based around a life experience that you've had. So you're able to start thinking and identifying, okay, like I know like these were some of my pains, right? Like for me, I realized like, oh my gosh, like I was stuck because I didn't think I was good enough. I was stuck because I thought I had to be perfect. And I was realizing, whoa, like, okay, I've got some things that are based on life experiences. What do they want? What do they desire? gosh, I know with my life experience and the niche I'm targeting, like they want to just experience different things. Like they want to be authentic. They want to be able to be themselves. They want freedom and flexibility in their schedule. They want to have a career that they're happy in. They want a career that's going to produce wealth, right? And allow them freedom and flexibility. So what do they want? Pains and wants. Then we think about what do they need. And when we talk about what do they need, once we've understood and identified their pains and their wants, we then can identify the tools and the resources our product or service has and can provide to them to solve their pains and to bring them what they want. So super important to lead with pains and wants. You're going to see on page 6 of the workbook that there is a chart, pains, wants, and needs. And you're going to be able to go in and you're going to start bullet pointing in each of those sections. Before you do that, I'm going to go over to the next slide because you may be thinking, well, Jackie, I don't actually know what my niches or niches, however you choose to say it, pains and wants are. So we're going to hold off on page 6 for just a second. And I want to share with you how I did my research. And I want to encourage you to do your research because the worst case scenario is that we're filling out that chart of pains and wants and we're just assuming we know what are the pains and wants of our ideal clients are. We don't necessarily know that. We don't want to make assumptions because when we make assumptions, all of a sudden we're going to start targeting and marketing to people who might not be in our 20%. So here are some ideas for you to help you identify the pains and the wants of your niche. Survey. Create a survey. Google Forms is super easy to use, and you can actually create a survey that you can send out to people, post on your social media so that you can gather some information. You'll see on the screen, there is a post that I shared on my social media to gain the attention of people to take the survey. And I know my picture has nothing to do with what I do. And I also know people stop their scroll on social media typically when they see pets and animals, okay? So I use my cat, it says, please help my mom. And you'll notice I put a call button at the top, calling all my fellow self-help junkies and professional growth lovers. So I was like reaching out to a niche, right? I was reaching out to a group that I was trying to pull in to take a survey for me. So who are you calling out to? Who is the niche? Who is the group that you want to target? Reach out to them, put that in the headlines of your posts, and then share. So there's many different ways you could do this. In this post that I shared, I said, comment below and I'll send you the link. You can also just post the link right along with your social media post. You can direct message it to people. You can text the link to people that you think are in that niche. Like I said, if you're already part of a group that you feel is your niche, ask them, hey, I would love for some help and feedback. I'm doing some research. I want to make sure that I'm providing value to people in, to everyone or to people in my group, or I want to make sure that I'm providing value to our group. And I'd love if you take just a few minutes to fill out this survey. It's that simple. It's that simple. And ask them. People want to help us. People that know, trust, and connect with you already want to help you. They want to help you succeed. Think about this. If a friend of yours who was starting a business asked you to fill out a quick survey just to help them grow and gain a better understanding of who their potential clients could be and the value that they could provide them, wouldn't you say yes? Wouldn't you take it? You would. I know you, right? I know you would, because we help people that we already have relationships with. It's our nature. So put it out there. And this is something that you may need to take a pause from the videos, go create the survey, put the survey out there, get the results in, start filling in pains and wants, and then identifying what you already have that's going to solve those pains and wants prior to working on your elevator pitch. So you can take some notes, and I'm just, please, I ask of you, please do not skip the research part. The research part is vital to making sure that you're reaching out to your 20%. Because here's the cool thing. What happens is when people respond, for instance, for me, when they responded to my survey, I started to notice patterns. They were using the same words: stuck, not motivated, not fulfilled when I hit a goal, need balance, has a hard time setting boundaries. And these were things that were consistently showing up in the answers. And let me just tell you, that made my job of filling out pains and wants so much easier because I had a better understanding of what tools and resources they needed. Because remember, if they knew what they needed, they'd already have it. So questions on the survey, a couple examples for you. Tell me 3 challenges you're currently experiencing. If you could have, if you could have your ideal home, what are the top 3 things that you want, right? So really dive into just open-ended. What are some challenges that you're experiencing and identify your area, okay? And then what are 3 of your top desires, or what are 3 things that you want now that you currently don't have? And you can mold those questions to work with any industry that you're in. Those are the questions that truly helped me get the information I needed to fill out that chart. So once you have that, I want you to go back and fill out page 6. So this, again, this might be a little break, or you might choose to watch the rest of the video and then go back and do these things in order so that you're not missing a step, because they all build upon each other. So let's take a look. What do you do now that you've identified your ideal client, that you know their pains, wants, and needs because you've done the research and you've identified, okay, these are the pains and the wants. This is what I have. This is what they need. Well, we develop our elevator pitch. And our elevator pitch is just that. It's something that is super short and sweet so that when somebody asks you what you do, you can give an answer. The purpose of having an elevator pitch is to also create a level of comfort so that when you're talking to somebody that you've already built relationship with, it can come off in a more flowing way. The elevator pitch that we're going to create is super nice to use when you're first meeting somebody and they ask you what you do and they have no idea of your background. Okay. And then from this, it's going to help you have conversations with people that you already know, trust, and connect with. So here are some guidelines about creating your elevator pitch. When you create your elevator pitch, it needs to be about 5 to 25 seconds. We have short attention spans. This is key. Okay. Somebody starts to ramble on, we wander off, whether we think we do or not. Research shows we have short attention spans. Needs to be 35 words roughly or less so that it can be that short. Connect to their pain or connect to something that they want. And you'll know that now because you did your research. Describe the benefits of working with you. That's your needs, okay? Like you have what they need. Describe those benefits. Limit the jargon. If you're in an industry with a lot of technical terms, leave it out and keep it simple, right? And then at the end, you're going to tag along this line of, to the effect of, here's what I do. Would that be of interest to you? So that you know, based on their answer, if you're going to continue to tell them in more detail what you do, or if you're going to say thank you and move on. Because we don't want to spend time talking about our business or product with somebody that doesn't want it or isn't going to benefit from it. That's that 80% that we were talking about leveraging or getting rid of. We don't need to focus our time and energy there. It's okay. We're not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. We've got to focus on finding the ideal clients, which is why going through these steps in this video are so critical. Now that you know what an elevator pitch is, let's talk about how to create one. And I have a framework here for you that I learned from Empowerment Inc. that has been super helpful in helping me get my draft and get my elevator pitch down. So this is the framework, and then I'm going to show you an example on the next page. On page 7 of your workbook, you're going to see that the framework is up there for you with a lot of space for you to work this around, okay? So most or a lot, and then you're going to insert your ideal client. So that niche, that group, most working parents, maybe that's your target. Think, believe, struggle with, want. right? So what is it that you're going to highlight? Most working parents struggle with having the time to focus on their business and spend time with their kids, or struggle with work-life balance, when it's actually blank that they're looking for, right? So you're going to share a little bit about, okay, what is it that they actually need? I help ideal clients. What's the solution, the benefits? I help working parents. What's your solution so that they can spend more time with their families, with their kids? What are you going to provide? I help working parents by providing XYZ so that they can spend more time with their kids, right? So you're kind of just getting a little idea. If I could show you how you can continue to grow a successful business while spending time with your kids, would you be interested in learning more? Right? When somebody hears that, that's an ideal client, they're like, heck yeah. And then you can go into describing more about your process or your product, right? So here's an example for you. This is one of my pitches, okay? I'm talking in the coaching capacity. So a lot of people feel stuck or unmotivated when it's actually because they don't have clarity on what's most important to them. I help people seeking clarity, happiness, or transformation in their careers or personal relationships, and I empower them to take massive action into transitioning into the life they desire and deserve. If I could share with you the 4 steps to successful transformation, would you be interested in learning more? Or I could have stopped at desire and deserve and said, would you be interested in learning more? So you'll see in the center here, I highlighted in purple. This purple piece is really my pitch. This first part I would use on a social media post to try to grab attention. I wouldn't necessarily say this if somebody said, Jackie, what do you do? Somebody said, Jackie, what do you do? I would automatically jump to, I help people seeking clarity, happiness, or transformation in their careers or personal relationships, and I'd go on. Okay, so that's why I highlighted that in purple. That first piece is still helpful for you to identify, because when you're making posts or you're talking to other people, it helps you and it helps them dial into your ideal client, right? So I'm like you here, stuck, unmotivated. So when I'm making a social post, I could say, feeling stuck, feeling unmotivated. Do you have clarity on what's important to you? Are you looking, for a new career? Are you happy in your career? Are your relationships growing? Right? So I can use that top piece as a way to help market. What I have in the center is what I'm going to say when somebody that I don't know asks me what I do. I help people seeking clarity, happiness, transformation, and I'm going to go on. Okay. And when I have that piece memorized, I'm able to talk to friends and family. So when they're like, Jackie, tell me more about what you do, I don't really understand. Oh my gosh, well, I'm so glad you asked. Well, as a values-based coach, I work with people that are seeking clarity, happiness, or transformation in their careers or personal lives and want to take massive action into just transitioning into that life they desire and deserve. So you see, I can kind of make it more conversational and then just share, like, do you happen to know of anybody that would be interested in learning about the 4 steps to successful transformation? And there. Right? So you can, once you have it, you can kind of play around with it depending upon whom you're speaking to. Having it is critical. This took a lot of practice for me. It took a lot of revisions and refinements. And I want you to know that sometimes you're in industries where you might have more than one pitch. For example, this is my pitch for people seeking one-on-one coaching. I also have another pitch that I reach out and share with the leaders of teams and companies. So I work with leaders of teams and companies who are interested in increasing the production, retention, and teamwork of their employees. And I provide them with the coaching, resources, and accountability necessary to get each of their team members performing at their highest level. If this is something that would sound interesting to you, would you be willing to set up a time to learn more? Right? So we might be in an industry where we have a couple of different pitches. So I want you to be aware of that. All right. So what are the action steps? Where do we go from here? Right? Here they are laid out for you, because one of the 4 steps to successful transformation is to take action. Step 3 is take action. Step 4 is stay positively focused. So I want to get you into action. I want you to complete the activities in your workbook. Again, to receive a free copy of the workbook, just send me an email at tyoscoach@gmail.com. Send it over, just say, Jackie, please send me a workbook, or send free workbook, and I will get that over to you within 24 hours. Next, practice your pitch. So once you've done all the work in the workbook, you're ready and you have your pitch. Share the pitch with people in your industry. Share it with people from the niche, maybe that you surveyed. Ask for feedback. Ask for feedback. Mine did not sound like that at the beginning. It went through many revisions. Revise the pitch, refine it, and practice some more. I'd also love to hear your pitch. I love to grow my referral network. So tell me, I'd love to hear what you do. Email me. Email me your answer to what do you do at that same email address. And then if you're interested in diving deeper or learning more, there's a link there at the bottom where you can set up a free discovery call with me as well. So I trust that you found value. I'm so excited to hear more about what you do, and I look forward to learning with you again. Have a great day.